Hey, Southeast Missouri sports fans. Enjoy the show and want to take it on the go? You can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube. Tune in as they air by searching SEMO Sports Zone wherever you may be listening. Welcome to SEMO Sports Zone presented by A-Corp Sports. David, oh my gosh, I'm tired.
I bet you are.
It has been it's only been 2 days. It's only been 2 days, and I've watched 16 games, and we've broadcasted 32.
Yep. It's there's, if you like basketball, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
There's a ton of it on A-Corp Sports right now.
Absolutely. It's been a time. Splitting up these two big Christmas tournaments. I mean, it's something that we've always wanted to do. Now that we're doing it, I mean, I'm not going to say I have buyer's remorse. I mean, it's been great. I'm just very tired.
Yeah, I bet you are. And but you know what? It's been some great basketball. A lot of good games. It's great to be a 6 seed if you're in these tournaments. But yeah, it's just a really great time of year for everybody who loves high school basketball.
So let's go ahead and talk about some storylines we got going on. Do you want to talk about Monday?
Yeah, let's rewind before Christmas and talk about that for a little bit, because that was a big time game, and we kind of plugged it, and it didn't really end up what we were expecting.
Yeah, so taking it all the way back to Monday, we've got Puxico coming down to Sikeston. Big game atmosphere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That place was packed. I was there. It was, Puxico brought a great crowd, but they just never got really to cheer for anything. I mean, it was kind of a measuring stick game for Puxico, and honestly, Sikeston took that stick and spanked them with it, because they just dominated that game from the opening tip. Off the tip, Murray took it and went right to the rim, and I looked at the guy I was with, and he looked at me, and we both said, this looks like two different teams out there, just right off the tip. The Sikeston was bigger, faster, stronger, and Puxico just never really was. I mean, they just never really in the game.
And it's kind of expected. If you're on the outside and you're looking at how this game is set up, it's a Class 2 school going to a Class 5 school, and a lot of people said they had no business being there. You could say that. If you're on the outside, you can say that. I feel like anybody who's been following Puxico kind of understood that, like, okay, we want to see what we're made of, and sometimes the ball doesn't bounce the way you want it to. Sometimes you do get humbled a little bit, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I don't either. This was a game that Puxico wanted. They wanted to play Sikeston. We heard about it last year. They thought that they could beat Sikeston, and last year as it went, and they wanted to play them, and it just didn't happen. But this year was able to happen. You had the narrative of the summer game where Puxico had taken it to Sikeston. But I tell you what, Sikeston was well aware of who Puxico was, and they wanted to make a statement. Look, we are the establishment here, and they were going to win that game by 30 plus. I mean, that was just what they were going to do, and again, they just showed their dominance in this game. To beat Sikeston, I think you have to have a post game, and I don't think that Puxico has a post game. They depend on they've got great guards. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They've got great guards, but you've got to have more of a post game, I think, to beat a Sikeston, and they just don't have one that really was able to do much against Sikeston. I think that's kind of where the game was kind of won. Sikeston was able to get to the rim when they needed to, and hit the shots outside. I mean, Puxico was just kind of on their heels the entire game.
Absolutely. And so that was like pretty deflating, I would say. Coming off, going into Tuesday right after that, it's just like, man, that really sucked. I think Puxico kind of took that and used it as motivation for this Christmas tournament, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, Puxico's good about using things as motivation, as we're well aware. I mean, but it should have been. But I mean, the Puxico, like you said, they were kind of humbled a little bit. I mean, their crowd was extremely quiet for that entire game. At one point, Sikeston students were cheering for Puxico when they scored. It was just so quiet. I've never seen a gym that quiet from one team's home or one team's fans. But they, you knew that they were going to kind of rally the troops here and use that as some motivating, like, hey, we don't want that to happen to us again. So, they came out here in this Christmas tournament and had two big wins so far. Now, I mean, you've got, two more games coming up here for them. So we'll see how they finish this off. But, I think that this was, I think it kind of sometimes a loss can be a good thing, and it depends on how you react to it. I think Puxco's reacted well so far.
It's the first moment where I feel like the term "big fish in a small pond" really fits.
Yeah,
And
I mean that makes sense. Yeah,
and when you get dumped in the water with probably the biggest fish in Southeast Missouri, I mean it's going to look it's going to be bad.
Yeah, it just was. I don't think they expect. I didn't expect them to go in and get blown out like that. It's just one of the. It just happens, but Sykeston they were well aware of Puxico, and they had just been real quiet and had not said much, and Puxico had a lot of talk after that summer game, and I think that that kind of stuck with Sykeston a little bit, and they were able to use that as their motivation. So now this loss, Puxico can use that as motivation to kind of go through the rest of, because the thing is, I mean, Puxico is probably not going to play anybody on their schedule as good as Sykeston. So I mean, you're not. I mean, look at it like that. I mean, that's the toughest team you're going to face. So you know what you have to do the rest of the way.
Sure. Do you want to move on to tournament scores?
Let's do it.
So let's start off with Friday scores from BCT. First game we've got Holcomb and Dexter, 22-98.
Yeah, Dexter just rolled through Holcomb. Holcomb struggles handling the ball, struggle to score. It's just Dexter took advantage of that.
And we're not really going to have a lot of analysis for each of these games going forward. It's we've got a lot of games to cover.
Yeah.
And then Kennett East Carter 47-66.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time Kennett's been in the loser's bracket since 2008, so it kind of was a big loss. I mean, but East Carter, I like their team. They're really good. Benji Stahl Bryce Stahl had a great game in this one, 27 points. Kennett's still struggling to score.
And up next, we've got Richland Van Buren, 66-77.
Yeah, I tell you what, Richland made a nice comeback there in the second half. Just kind of let down. Van Buren just let down defensively, and Richland made a nice comeback. And Tilly had a big game, but man, I tell you what, Van Buren, whenever they needed it, Haynes Townsley was able to score, and I think he had 27 in that game. But they did a nice job of rebounding there, kind of getting their wits about them, and winning that game in overtime. Seems like they always play an overtime game in the first round.
Yeah, no, that's something that as a crew, we've noted is it feels like for 2 years now, it's like Van Buren overtime, match made in heaven.
Yeah.
And then moving on, we've got Bloomfield Malden 28-62.
Yeah, Malden played very well defensively in this one. Their athleticism was just a little too much for Bloomfield, and Bloomfield just couldn't really get on track offensively.
And then Gideon Puxico 30-72.
Yeah, Puxico just taking care of business. They were clearly the better team here and just took care of it.
East Prairie Risco 46-65.
Yeah, East Prairie came out slow. They didn't score for the first 6 minutes or so, but they were able to come back and tie it up at half. But Risco had that run at the end of the third quarter that kind of put it away. And man, I mean, Owen Fortner and Eli Rogers, when they're going, I think 24-17 for the two of them. That was just they're the difference makers. But it was a really good game. I mean, it was a lot better game than the score.
And then Donovan Burney 30-74.
Yeah, Aycock had 20-something points. He was just a big factor in that one. Donovan just didn't have an answer.
And Portersville Twin Rivers 41-48.
This one kind of surprised me, but Portersville kind of, they can't really score, but they can really kind of slow you down and drag you into their type game. That's kind of what happened here. It was a struggle for Twin Rivers, but they were able to kind of pull it out. And Will Parker had a really nice game. He had 15, and that kind of spurred him on into the game against Bernie.
And then let's go ahead and go to Southeast Missourian. Oak Ridge versus Jackson 23-90.
Yeah, Jackson just bigger, faster, stronger.
Scott Kenny Central versus Woodland 44-92.
Again, bigger, faster, stronger Woodland. I mean, those are just some mismatches right off the bat, but you kind of expect that in the 1-2 seeds there.
Meadow Heights versus Cape Central 16-74.
Bigger, faster, stronger. You got to feel bad though for Cape Central. They've lost to Chandra Edwards. They're trying to figure some stuff out right now offensively
for the year.
Yeah, he's out for the year. So I mean, you've got some really some figuring out to do, and it was nice to see them score 74 points because you've got to figure some offensive stuff out.
And then Orion Notre Dame 29-71.
Notre Dame's playing really well defensively, and they really kind of shut Orion down. They just weren't able to really get much going.
Kelly versus Charleston 55-75.
Now, this was a fun game. I mean, Kelly did a great job. They were prepared, and I think they were tied at half. Kelly led going into the third quarter. It was just Charleston just turned it up defensively. And they did what Charleston does at times, but Charleston has got to find some consistency. I mean, we talked about it in a prior podcast. I mean, they're kind of a roller coaster. It's and not even game to game. It's inside of a game. I mean, it's just a lot of ups and downs for them. There's just no consistency there. But when they turn it on, they can be really good.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Charleston going forward too, because they played a heck of a game against Notre Dame also. But just moving on here, Advance versus Scott City, 22-64.
Yeah, Scott City they just took it to Advance, and Advance could get nothing going offensively. Scott City just really locked them down. Just a nice job there by them. Chaffee
versus Bell City, 52-48.
Great back and forth game. Some revenge here for Chaffee after losing to Bell City in the Orient tournament. They did a nice job. Nolan Fowler, he's playing really well right now. He had 25 points. Had a huge steal late in the game that kind of sealed it for him, and McMullen had hit those free throws to seal it. I mean, they're two very evenly matched teams. I think it'd be fun to watch them play a best of 7 series. I think that would be a fun deal. But these two teams, have played a couple of good games so far.
For being the only upset on the day, I think it was probably the best one we could have had. It's got a lot of narrative behind it. I mean, Chaffee Bell City, just going off that Orient tournament, everything like that. I mean, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, Chaffee and Chaffee's a good team. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they're still a year away from being really, really good. But I think they're a good team, and they've got some good players. And you've got to become ready to play anytime you play Chaffee.
Absolutely. And then Leopold versus Delta, 55-70.
Yeah, Delta, they had a 14-15-0 run there to start the fourth quarter to kind of put it away. But, they're a very good Class 1 team. A lot of seniors. Hornbuckle's a really nice player. I really like his game. But they've got several guys. Van Dieven's another one that's a good player. I mean, they're full of a lot of seniors, guys that have been here before, and they're able to win some of these close games. And, we'll talk about them with Jackson later on. But this is a team they like to play fast and they get after you defensively, and they're a fun team to watch.
Absolutely. Very fun. All right. Let's slow down a little bit and let's go to Saturday's games. So we've got Bloomfield versus Richland, 50-48.
This was a nice comeback from Bloomfield. And Bloomfield always seems to get at least one win in their tournament. And, a lot of times more than that. But, they just did a really nice job in the second half, shutting down Tilly. Tilly had a real nice first half, but
Tilly had a monster first half. Yeah. He had 20 points.
Yeah, just like in nothing flat, it seemed like. I mean, he was just dominating. But in the second half, I don't think he scored. I mean, it was just a great job from Bloomfield making some adjustments and really taking him out of the game. When they took him out of the game, they were able to get back in it, and they hit some free throws late, and they just did what they needed to do to win. But it was a really nice job by Bloomfield adjusting and taking Tilly out of the game in the second half.
Yeah, and credit to Ben Sendel too. Like, just second year as this head coach, and it's doing what you're doing with this team. I mean, sometimes you work with what you got, but he knows how to make it all work.
Yeah. This is a team that doesn't have a tremendous amount of talent, but he just seems to be able to put it together and get some wins in some games that you probably don't think they're going to win. And they play hard. They just look good, and it's just a young team too. So he's got a freshman out there who's a really good player. I mean, there's some good some good coaching going on there for sure.
And then moving on, we've got Kennett and Hawkins, 66-34.
Yeah, this is just Hawkins. Just they're struggling right now, trying to find something there. But Kennett took advantage and was able to find some scoring in this one and use their defense to get some easy offense.
And then moving on, we've got East Prairie versus Gideon, 62-45.
Kind of the same thing. Gideon just doesn't have the offensive firepower, and East Prairie was able to take advantage, turn some turnovers into some easy buckets, and was able to put this game away pretty early.
Portageville Doniphan, 44-60.
Yeah, this game wasn't much of a surprise after what we saw in the Clarkton tournament, but Portageville kind of played them a little bit closer than what they did there. I honestly think these two seeds probably should have been flipped.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think Doniphan should have been the 11 and Portageville the 14. But Portageville, Doniphan has gotten better through the course of the year. They've really from what we saw during the Current River shootout, or what do they call that? They've really improved, and they just have to find some consistency there, and maybe try to find some sort of post game. They don't have much of a game in the post, but they've got some guys that play hard, and they're going to get after you defensively, and that's kind of what they did here against Boardsville.
They definitely are kind of one of those sticky teams that really just kind of slows you down and kind of, I wouldn't say upsets you, but really just makes you grind it out.
Yeah, they're going to get after you. Both these teams guard well. I mean, it was just one of those things where Doniphan's just got more offensive weapons than Portsville has. I think that's just what it came down to. But I thought they both guarded well, and it was just it was a good game. I think I felt like it was closer than 14 points, but it was a really nice game. And these are two teams that obviously familiar. They played about a little over a week ago, and they were able to get after it. But I think Doniphan, like I said, Doniphan's really improved from the beginning of the year.
And now you want to talk about a close game. East Carter versus Dexter, 45-48.
Now, Dexter just doesn't know how to put a team away. They had another double-digit lead in this one, but I tell you what, East Carter is a feisty team, and they've got some weapons. They've got a lot of different guys that can score, and they do a lot of good things. I mean, East Carter, I think, was probably a little underseeded. I think they were probably better than an 8 seed here. They're a nice team, and first year coach Stahl and his son's a good player, and Dexter kind of took him away at times, but East Carter found some other guys to step up. The Dackett kid, I think's how you say his name. I think he had 11, but he had some really nice plays getting to the rim. They're a nice team. They're a really nice team, and they're probably a better than an 8 seed.
Yeah, and just from this game, out physical Dexter in a lot of spaces and kind of just cooked defenders in some points too.
Yeah, they were, they just manned Dexter up. I mean, they just played a really good man-to-man defense, and Dexter was just trying to make something happen. But they did a really nice job, and Dexter, at the end of the game turned it over a little bit. They didn't hit some free throws, or I think at one point they were like 6 of 16 or something like that. I mean, they weren't shooting free throws very well. They did hit some there at the end to seal it. Sepulvedo hit some there to seal it. So it's good to see Dexter win a close game like this.
Yeah.
I think that does a great deal for their psyche, because these are the games that they've been losing. So I think it's really nice to see them win one of these games. But Dexter just seems to play. Everybody kind of plays them close for the most part. So Dexter kind of keeps teams in games, and that's not good for because especially when you've lost a lot of these, because it's not good for your mental psyche.
No, absolutely not. And I think this game too. Going forward, I think this raises eyebrows of just like what happened here. You know what I mean? Woodland, Jackson. Those are comparable teams, but going against East Carter, nothing wrong with East Carter. They played a heck of a game, but just off of visual of what you're seeing the seedings look like, everything like that, you think Dexter should have put this away very early on.
Yeah, but I think you'll learn a lot of these tournaments too. You don't have much time to prepare. It's less than 24 hours. East Carter's a tough team to prepare for. Dexter's not a team who's going to go out. Typically, obviously they did in the first round playing against Holcomb, but most games Dexter's not going to go out and score 70, 80 points and blow a team out. They're going to be around the 50, 60 point mark, and it's going to be a lot more of a closer game. That's going to keep that other team in it. So I don't, you just win and survive. If you lose the game, then you kind of open your eyes a little bit. But they were able to win this game, so I don't put that's a step in the right direction in my eyes.
And then moving on, we've got Malden Van Buren 59-76.
Yeah, Van Buren didn't look the greatest in their first round game, but they looked pretty good against Malden. They matched Malden's athleticism and really kind of took it to them. Carter Freeze, 30 points, played very, very well. Aiden Sullivan, 26. They've got guys that can score. They don't have a deep bench, and that could cause some problems if they ever get in some foul trouble. But they've got some good players there, and Malden just couldn't really do anything with them. They just did a really nice job, and that run at the end of the first half just kind of, I thought, put the game away for Van Buren, and Malden was just playing catch up the rest of the game. They had Dobbins in foul trouble. That hurt them too. It was just everything kind of went Van Buren's way, and Van Buren played very well.
It's interesting because we talked about Van Buren a lot more towards the start of the season, just being like, okay, team to look at. And then we kind of petered out a little bit. They had a loss or two, and then it's just kind of like, okay, well, whatever. Now I feel like they're kind of moving that way back up.
Yeah, I mean, this will be their second time in the in the semifinals in the last 3 years. I mean, this time they're trying to get the championship. They've never been to the championship in this tournament, and I think they've got a team that I think that can make this, and so I think it's going to be a interesting game with Dexter. But I tell you what, Van Buren's playing very well.
Absolutely. And then Risco versus Puxico, 55-76.
I think Puxico's still out there draining threes. I mean, they were on fire from outside, and when you're shooting the ball like that, I mean, you're just not going to beat them. I mean, they were hitting a lot of threes, hitting them from on the other side of the floor. Burchard with a tremendous shot there at the end of the first quarter.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, just a crazy shot. But I mean, when things are falling, they're falling. But you hope that they're falling for the next 2 games, as well. But man, yeah, when they're hitting from outside, I mean, they're tough to beat, and they really kind of took Fortner and Rogers out of the game. They just, I think they combined for 20 points. They just really kind of took them out of the game, and if you do that with Risco, then you've got a definite advantage, and I think that worked for Puxico. Their guards are going to win a lot of games for them.
Yeah, and you want to talk about like your offense and defensive 1-2 punch. I mean, Landon Burchard's going to get his points. Jet Hancock will strip that ball from you every chance he gets.
Yeah, I mean, they're very good. I mean, we talk about their offense. We know that they can score, but they're very good defensively as well. And, they make it really tough on your guards to get up and down the floor. Twin Rivers has already found that out once, earlier this year. So it makes it really tough because they're such good defenders as well. So, they're a good team and they're playing well right now. I mean, obviously they've gotten over that loss to Sykeston. So we'll see how they respond here against in the semifinals coming up. Be tonight when people are listening to this. But it's I tell you what, Puxico they look primed to maybe win this tournament again.
Absolutely. Twin Rivers versus Bernie, 55-47.
It's good to be a 6 seed. This is 6 seeds this year are having a good time, and this was kind of a shocker. I think a lot of people thought Bernie was going to win this game.
Yeah, let's just go back to some of the things you said earlier in the year. Never trust Twin Rivers.
That's true. I mean, they were they've been my darling pick for the last couple of years, and they've just kind of failed me. But this year they're not. They played really well, and I tell you what, don't trust them because I mean, as soon as you doubt them, they're going to win. If you give them too much, hope, they're going to lose. But yeah, they played really, really well in this game. I mean, really well. They were able to get to the rim whenever they wanted to. Will Parker was fantastic, I thought, in this game. They didn't turn it over a ton, and they really kind of caused Bernie a lot of trouble. Bernie was settling for a lot of threes and kind of seemed like a little bit of a rush, some rush threes. So, Bernie, I think, needs to get the ball down low more. But they settled for a lot of threes, and if you're not making them, it's kind of like Puxico was making them, Bernie wasn't. So
yeah, it really did feel like every piece of luck Bernie could have had was transferred over to another game because they just couldn't get a shot to go down.
Yeah, I mean, they jumped out early. I think it was like 12-0 out of the gate, but Twin Rivers didn't blink. They just, stayed the course and just were able to fight back and really, I mean, really dominated that game after that opening run. And so I thought Twin Rivers played really well. They are another team that's really improved from the beginning of the year. I know that Puxico beat them pretty handily early, but I mean, this is a better team. I mean, and they're going to know how to play them a little bit better. But man, I was real impressed with the way Twin Rivers played against Bernie. Yeah,
just the way they sped them up too. I mean, they'll exacerbate your mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely, and just getting to the rim. I mean, just over and over, just anytime they wanted to. Especially Parker, it just seemed like he could really get to the rim, and especially there in that third quarter, I thought. They shared the ball well. They didn't turn it over a lot, and I know that's kind of what they had happen to them early in the year is they just turned it over. And so I think whenever they handle the ball like that, I think they can be a really good team, and they're showing it.
All right, let's move on to Saturday at Southeast Missourian. Got Orion Kelly 59-43.
Yeah, I think Kelly used up everything they had against Charleston. I think that kind of deflated them. I think they were, it was a tough come back and play early in the morning the next day. I think that was just a tough rebound for them. Orion took advantage of it.
And then Scott County Central versus Bell City, 40-63.
Yeah, Bell City just kind of took care of business there. I mean, they're clearly the better team, and they'll move on, and they'll have a chance to do something in this consolation bracket.
This game was pretty close towards the half, though.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Central played with them. I think it took a while for in these consolation games, after you lose a tough game the night before, it's really hard to wake back up, and then you have to turn around and play early the next day. It's tough.
And then moving on, Meadow Heights versus Advance, 48-81.
Yeah, Advance had trouble scoring. I think they scored 22 on the first game. They kind of took that out on Meadow Heights, and they found their rhythm and were able to score a lot more, obviously, in this game.
It's a very odd bell curve.
Yeah.
And then moving on, Oak Ridge versus Leopold, 40-70.
Yeah, Leopold, they're a good team, and they just ran into a really good Delta team. Leopold but is a very good team, and they're another one that I expected to play well here in this consolation bracket.
Delta versus Jackson, 51-72.
Man, Delta, man, they're a scrappy team. Like we talked about the seniors that they have. They really kind of got into Jackson, kind of sped them up a little bit. You were kind of surprised Jackson turned the ball over a lot. I mean, Delta was down 6 going into the fourth quarter, but then Jackson just their height, their strength, they just too much, but Delta gave them all they wanted for 3 quarters.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're looking at it as a Class 1 school taking a Class 6 school, that kind of game.
Yeah.
Blocking shots multiple times. Mm-hmm. Man, it was exciting to see. Man, I always like rooting for underdogs too.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people there that were kind of perking up as they saw Delta just kind of hanging with it and hanging with them. And, Jackson's kind of become the establishment here. I think they're looking for their 5th straight, place in a championship game. They won last year. So I think that, they're kind of the big dog and everybody wants to knock them off. And I thought a lot of the fans were getting behind Delta and would have loved to have seen that. They just didn't have enough there in that fourth quarter. But this is a really good, I think they're the best Class 1 team in the area.
I can see it.
I really do. I think they're the best Class 1 team in the area. They've got a lot of seniors. They really get after you defensively and cause a lot of problems. And they've got some guys that can score too. I think this is a really nice basketball team.
Yeah, definitely primed to make a run this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And up next, we've got Chaffee versus Woodland, 67-68.
Yeah, I mean, this game, even though it was a little higher scoring, it reminded me a lot of the Dexter game. It's just, Woodland had the lead here, and they just did not put Chaffee away, and Chaffee made them pay. I mean, this is a team that Chaffee is a lot like East Carter. They're very gritty, gutty. They've got some good players, and they just stayed after them and was able, were able to make this a heck of a game. And again, you've got to put these teams away when you have that chance. And Woodland just didn't do it. But Calvin Layton, he had 27, made some big plays down the stretch, and were able to hit some free throws late. But he played really well. Nolan Fowler, he had another big game, 26 points. McMullen, 18. Those are 2 good players for Chaffee. And Reichman's another one for Chaffee that's a good player. I mean, Chaffee's young, but I think they're a year away. But they're a team that's going to cause some fits for some teams this year for sure.
Absolutely. Woodland escapes undefeated, just barely.
Yeah, just barely.
And Scott City versus Cape Central, 53-41.
Yeah, this is an upset, but I don't think it's an upset. I think
it's an upset on paper.
Right. Yeah. We talked about it. If Edwards is not there for Cape Central, they really struggle to score, and that's just what happened in this game. Scott City just really took it to them in that second half, and defensively, Cape Central just struggles to find offense, and Scott City's going to get after you defensively and make you earn it. And they just couldn't find enough offense to go. But snapped a streak of 8 straight semifinals for Cape Central. It's just Caden Lowry played well, 19. I mean, Scott City's got a lot of weapons, and it's not just 5 guys on the floor. They bring some guys off the bench too that are good players. So Scott City's deep, and they're looking. Scott City's looking to try to make this championship game.
And then the final game for the night, we've got Charleston versus Notre Dame, 58-65.
Man, this game was a physical game.
Absolutely.
Tough game. I mean, these are 2 teams that, they played each other in the SEMO Conference tournament. Notre Dame got the win there. And, man, these are 2 teams that just get after it. And defensively and I think just, Notre Dame just made the plays down the stretch when they had to. They kind of got the lead there and just never really kind of gave it up. But, Charleston kept they would fall behind 8-10 points and make a surge, but Notre Dame just never gave that lead up. And Notre Dame's shooting it a lot better than they did earlier this year, and look a lot better than they have.
Yeah, ended this game a 7-point differential, but it was maybe a 4-point differential, like in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think that Charleston cut it to 3 multiple times there late. It hit some big threes coming down the stretch. And
yeah, you want to talk about the up and down of Charleston within a game. Sometimes they'll just turn into NBA players out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I mean, they were hitting some really nice, long, deep threes there late in the game to keep them in it. But Notre Dame, credit to them. They made their free throws down the stretch, and free throws will win games if you let them. And Notre Dame did what they needed to do to win this game, and very cohesive win for them. A lot of pieces. They play a lot of players, and they do a nice job of passing the ball, sharing the ball, finding the open man, and just a really nice job by them to get this win. I mean, it was a hard fought win.
Yeah, that free throw transition to win the game. I mean, it came off of an errant three.
Yeah,
and credit to the kid. I mean, he pulled his own rebound off of his free throws.
Yeah, that was one of those where the coach is not happy with you. He's talking to you over on the sideline, and you're giving an earful like, "Why did you do that?" And the kid immediately goes out and makes a couple big plays right after that.
Sure, coach, I'll lock in.
Yeah. He made up for it in a big way, and just a really nice job by this Notre Dame team to in the late stretches. They did have they did what they needed to do to win.
All right, that's been 30 minutes of rehash. How about we get to Dave's Dozen of the Week?
All right, we're going to start. We'll start at number 12. We're going to keep Poplar Bluff at number 12. They haven't really played. I mean, so you can't really take it from them yet. They'll have their big shootout starting on Monday. At number 11, I've got Delta. I mean, I think they've earned that spot. Number 10 is Bernie, falling a little bit after their loss to Twin Rivers,
which I think is fair.
Yeah, I mean you can't, you have to. Charleston's at 9. I think they've dropped a spot or two there, but at
still
8,
hanging in.
They're still hanging in there. I mean, they're still a good team. I mean, Notre Dame's a good team. Scott City, I've got them at 8. I've got Notre Dame at 7. I've got South Pemiscot at 6. And then here's the one I think that is, I've got Puxico at 5, only because I've got Dexter ahead of them at 4, only because Dexter played Sykeston a little bit better. I have a feeling that's going to change after this week. I think my next poll will have Puxico up a lot higher. Woodland at 3, Jackson at 2, and Sykeston at 1. I mean, they haven't lost. Woodland, Jackson, Sykeston, they haven't lost, so I can't really drop them because they haven't lost.
Man, I'm just going to tell you, I think Puxico is going to really rise up those spots again.
I agree. I completely agree. I think that I think they're better than Dexter, but I mean, you just lost by 34, 35 points to Sykeston. Dexter took them deep into the fourth quarter. You got to compare those scores a little bit.
You got to take a hit a little bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a rough game. You take that hit and then you come back from it. That's just how it goes. It's week to week power rankings.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And hey, look, you win the Christmas tournament. Obviously, you'll jump ahead of Dexter, and who knows, you probably jump ahead of Woodland as well, or whoever, or Jackson, or whoever doesn't win that tournament up there. So you're probably back up in that 2 or 3 spot, next week. So
I think talking about Woodland and Jackson too. I mean, I'm very curious to see how this championship kind of all hashes out, if they even make it.
I start to say it wouldn't shock me to see both of those teams playing the third place game and not the championship game. I mean, Scott City's playing well as well. I mean, that game with Scott City Woodland game, I think is going to be just a tremendous basketball game. And obviously the Jackson Notre Dame game, they know each other very well. Have played each other, very, very familiar with each other over the years. They're close, and so I think both of those games are going to be tremendous games. But I'm really looking forward to that Woodland Scott City, because that not only is big for this tournament, but it's big for that Class 3 too, because they're in the same district. So that could go a long way in determining who gets that top seed there.
Well, let's just go ahead and talk about that. What does Woodland have to do to beat Scott City, and vice versa?
Woodland just needs to play their game. I mean, Woodland, they depend a lot on threes. They really struggled on the 3-point shot when they played Dexter earlier in the year. And when they struggle with that, you've got to find other ways to score. And they were able to do that by getting to the free throw line. They can really, they're a team, I think, that can take the ball to the basket. Now, Scott City is a team that can defend that. I mean, so I think it's going to be, I think they match up very well. Scott City's got some kids that can score. They're big, strong, physical kids. I think they match up very well. So I think both of them, it's just whoever's making shots that night, I think is just, especially down the stretch, I think is going to be the biggest key. And
then Jackson, Notre Dame. I mean, obviously these teams see each other a lot.
Yeah, I mean, SEMO conference opponents, they know each other very well. Coaches know each other well. I think this is another game that's going to be, a battle. I think, Notre Dame has some real toughness about them. Jackson does as well. I like Jackson's size a little bit inside. I think if Ernst plays well, I think Jackson, gets through. But I think he's got to play well, because both of these teams can shoot it a little bit. But I think it's going to come down to Ernst inside for Jackson. If he plays well, then Jackson moves on. If he doesn't, then I think Notre Dame moves on.
I do think it's funny, Jackson being this 1 seed and kind of, being the establishment, like you said, it still feels like they're on the back foot in a lot of places.
Yeah, I mean, all these teams have flaws. I mean, this is one of those strange years where, there's not just one team that you're like, oh wow, that team's going to roll through here and at least get to the championship and just roll. I mean, and you look at it too. It's some teams that are in some unfamiliar places. I mean, Notre Dame's not won this thing since 2014. Woodland hasn't won it since 1960. I mean, 1999 for Scott City. I mean, these are teams that are, obviously Jackson won it last year, but these are three teams that are trying to get in there and win for the first time in a while. And there's a lot of excitement behind these teams thinking that, hey, we've got a chance this year to win this.
Yeah, there's a 75% chance you're going to get some history made.
Yeah, I mean, it's a you could have for a change a different team win it, but then at the same time, Jackson's sitting there saying, hey, not so fast. We're the defending champions, and we expect to win this.
Absolutely. All right, want to shift over to BCT a little bit and talk about those?
Let's do it.
We've got Dexter and Van Buren.
I like Van Buren.
I do too.
I like Van Buren in this game. I feel like if it gets to be a close game, I don't think Dexter's can blow them out. I think if it's a close game, that Van Buren's going to pull it out.
We've seen them play teams close to overtime, and we've seen Dexter kind of struggle when they get to that fourth quarter stretch.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about whenever I was talking about my top 12. I just don't think that Dexter's going to be there in the end. I want to see that Dexter Puxico championship game. I think that a rematch of last year would be a great game. But at the same time, I think Van Buren gets Dexter here. I really do. I think that Van Buren's playing very well. I think if it gets to be a close game, that Van Buren can make the plays to win. And I haven't seen from Dexter that they've been able to make the plays. They did this last game. Can they do it again? Can they do it? On an even bigger stage. So we'll see. It's going to be a big test.
Yeah, I think the biggest keys are like, can you out physical a team and can you stay out of foul trouble doing it?
Yeah, and that's a big thing for neither one of these teams are deep. I mean, so if you're either one of these teams, you've got to stay out of foul trouble. I mean, I think that's a huge thing for this game. You just can't have to go deep on your bench. So you've got to keep your guys out of foul trouble. I think Dexter's zone is going to cause some issues for Van Buren, but I think Van Buren's going to be able to score a little bit. I think they seem to be a little more aggressive getting to the free throw line and taking advantage of the free throws. I think that's kind of a big thing. Is both teams can get to the rim, but which team makes more free throws? I feel like Van Buren is a better free throw shooting team here, and I think that plays a big part in this.
And then let's talk about kind of the punch-up game right now. We've got Twin Rivers playing Puxico again. What do they have to do?
I mean, they got to take care of the basketball for one. I mean, I think obviously Puxico's the favorite here. I'm expecting Puxico to win this. I'm expecting Puxico to win this tournament. But at the same time, Puxico, they've got to make their shots. And Twin Rivers, for them, they've got to take care of the basketball. I mean, that was what happened in the first game. They turned it over a lot. And then Burchard went off. I think he had 39 in that game. You've got to contain Burchard, and you've got to make some other guys beat you. And, I think that's something that Twin Rivers will work to do. I mean, I expect a much better game than the first time they played, but I think Puxico just has a little bit too much guard play in this, and I think they're going to force one too many turnovers. I think they're going to win this game.
I can't disagree. I mean, what I've seen from Twin Rivers so far is that they seem to adapt in a lot of places. I think they're going to try to speed the tempo up a little bit, but I don't know if that's to their benefit in some places.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. Speeding the tempo up. I mean, I just for them, they just have to take care of the ball. Just don't let Puxico dictate what you do. You have to dictate what you can do. And a lot of times Burchard and Hancock, they're such like we talked about it. They're good defensively.
It's hard to guard both of them too.
Right, and you've got to figure out a way to kind of take them out of the game and make someone else beat you. If for some reason they're not hitting, then that opens this game up to a whole other thing. But you just got to get after them defensively and make them earn everything that they get. Don't let them get easy trips to the rim, and make them shoot those outside shots and maybe kind of speed them up a little bit and take them out of the rhythm, and maybe then you get you're able to stay in that game. I think if you're able to stay in this game, I think that kind of maybe works against Puxico a little bit, because I think Puxico's expecting to win this game going away.
Absolutely, man. Just the fact that this is coming out on Monday. We have these games on Monday. The longevity of this podcast is about 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't listen to this on Monday, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a lot of old news that's probably outdated.
Yeah.
But man, David, am I missing anything?
I don't think so. I'm excited about these two semifinals, and I think we're going to have some really good championship games. I think that no matter who's playing in them, I think that we're going to have some good championship games, and people are going to get their money's worth.
All right, boy, howdy, I'm tired already. All right, this has been the SEMO Sports Zone. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.